You're 8 years old, sitting at the dinner table, listening to your parents fight about money. And you find yourself thinking about how you could get a job to help fix everything. While other kids are worried about their next play date, you're mentally organizing your family's problems and wondering why the adults around you seem so childish. Here's what actually happens to your brain when you're forced into this role too early. Dr. Alice Miller's research on parentified children shows that when kids become the emotional caretakers, their prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for executive functioning, develops faster than normal. You literally become more adult like in your thinking patterns. But here's the cruel irony. While you're developing advanced problem solving skills and emotional regulation for everyone else, you're simultaneously missing out on the neural development that comes from being, well, a kid. Your brain learns to scan for danger, anticipate needs, and manage crises before it learns to play freely or trust others to handle things. It's like learning calculus before you've mastered basic addition. Technically impressive, but something fundamental gets skipped. And that gap follows you into adulthood in ways you're probably just starting to recognize. But the real damage isn't in what you gained, it's in what you lost. Research on parentified children shows that these adults often struggle to receive care in adulthood. You can spot emotional manipulation from across the room. You can solve everyone else's problems with surgical precision. But when someone genuinely tries to take care of you, your nervous system literally doesn't know how to process it. You'll find yourself feeling guilty for being helped, suspicious of genuine kindness, or weirdly uncomfortable when someone else picks up the check. Your brain learned that love equals responsibility, that your worth comes from what you provide, not who you are. So now, decades later, you're probably the friend everyone calls in a crisis, the colleague who takes on extra projects without being asked, the partner who gives and gives until you're empty. And the most painful part? You've been doing this so long, you might not even remember what it feels like to just exist without a job to do. This pattern shows up everywhere once you start looking for it. You're the one who remembers everyone's birthdays, who notices when your friend seems off and gently asks what's wrong, who somehow becomes the unofficial therapist in every group chat. Research suggests that people with heightened emotional sensitivity often absorb other people's feelings without realizing it. You walk into a room and immediately sense the tension between two people who haven't even spoken. You can predict your boss's mood from the way they type emails. This isn't intuition. It's a survival skill your nervous system developed when reading the room meant emotional safety. The exhausting part? Your brain never learned to turn this off. While others can enjoy a dinner party without monitoring everyone's emotional temperature, you're unconsciously tracking facial expressions, voice tones, and energy shifts like a human emotional seismograph. The strangest part might be how you experience guilt. Not regular guilt about things you've actually done wrong, but this persistent, low level guilt about existing. Dr. Janice Webb's work on emotional neglect reveals that parentified children develop what she calls invisible guilt. You feel guilty for having needs, for taking up space, for not being enough. You probably apologize more than anyone else in the room, even for things that aren't remotely your fault. Someone bumps into you, you say sorry. Your friend cancels plans, you immediately wonder what you did wrong. This happens because your developing brain learned that other people's comfort was more important than your own existence. Your emotional needs got labeled as selfish or inconvenient. So now your nervous system treats any personal desire like a transgression. That's why rest feels lazy, why asking for help feels like failure, and why you probably read that last sentence and thought, but isn't it kind of selfish to put myself first? But here's what nobody told you about boundaries. The weird thing is how you handle success. When good things happen to you, there's this automatic response to downplay it, deflect credit, or immediately worry about when the other shoe will drop. Research on self compassion suggests that adults who were parentified as children often struggle to accept praise. Someone compliments your work and you instantly redirect, "Oh, it was nothing," or "I just got lucky," or "Anyone could have done it." But here's what's really happening. Your nervous system learned that standing out or receiving positive attention meant other people might feel bad. and your job was to manage everyone else's emotions. So now, decades later, your brain still treats your own success like a threat to family harmony. You've probably noticed this shows up in job interviews where you undersell yourself, or in relationships where you're shocked when someone actually likes you. You've spent so long being the supporting character in everyone else's story that being the main character in your own life feels foreign and somehow wrong. Subscribe for more psychology insights and watch this next video about healing these patterns.